Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. Atha Ashtadashodhyayah. This is the 18th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the 18th discourse of Bhagavan Sri Krishna to Sri Arjuna on Atma Vidya. The name of this chapter is Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. That is, moksha means liberation, sannyasa means renunciation. To attain liberation through renunciation. So this chapter is quite a big chapter with 78 very meaningful shlokas. And usually chapter 2 in Bhagavad Gita is considered as the essence, cream of Bhagavad Gita. What all are said or introduced in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2 is explained in the rest of the chapters. All the rest of the chapters explain the core concept, what are all said in chapter 2. So chapter 2 is considered as the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and this chapter, chapter 18, is considered as the overall, that is the summary of Bhagavad Gita. What are all said so far is again discussed in detail or said in detail by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in this chapter. This chapter also has many questions by Sri Arjuna to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and this chapter itself begins with a question, and it very clearly explains about moksha and how to attain moksha through sannyasa. So let us go deep into this chapter. Arjuna uvacha Sannyasasya mahabhaho tattvamiccami veditum tyagasya cha hrishikesha pradakeshini shudhana. In this shloka, Sri Arjuna is addressing Bhagavan Sri Krishna as Keshini Shudhanaha. Keshini means Keshi, one who is the slayer of Keshi, is Keshi Nishudanaha. So he is addressing Bhagavan as Keshi Nishudanaha. And in this shloka, Sri Arjuna is asking Bhagavan Krishna to explain about what is a sannyasa, what is the truth about sannyasa, that is renunciation, and what is the truth behind tyaga, abandonment. So, or is that both same or different? So, explain to me in detail, Krishna, about both this renunciation as well as tyaga, abandonment. Renunciation is sannyasa and tyaga is abandonment. So, Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the next shloka says, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Viduho Sarva Karma Phalatyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha. So Bhagavan Krishna, he gives the meaning of sannyasa and tyaga. Sannyasa means kamyanam karmanam nyasam, to renounce the actions which we like most. So that is renunciation, sannyasa. Nyasam, kamyanam karmanam. So actions what are we like most, just like watching YouTube, talking to the friends, always keeping the mobile in our hand, watching TV and playing games, or just meeting friends, or all this, or something we like most. So all that should be renounced. So that is sannyasa. So when we renounce like this, what happens is we control our mind. Only when we control our mind, we can renounce all this. And tyaga means sarva karma phalatyagam, renouncing all the results of the action, to distance away from all the results of the action. We have to do our work and should not expect anything from it, just go away. Whether it is positive or negative, we should not be concerned about it. If it is negative, we have to improve. If it is positive, just leave it. Just like that. So we do our duty like this. Some duties, mandatory duties we have to do in our life, we do that duties like this. When we do not expect the result, that in a way it is karma yoga, it will mold our mind to be free from expectation. It will mold our mind to be in union with this universe. So we will not have any hate, dveshti or priya, anything, likes or dislikes we will not have, because we are not concerned about the result. We should not be too much attached to the result. Sarva karma phalatyagam phala. We should not be attached to the result. So that is very important. So sannyasa means leaving the action itself, dropping off the action itself. And tyaga means detachment from the result of that any karma, whatever karma we do. So that is the difference between sannyasa and tyaga. And in the next shloka, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains this in more detail. Tyajyan doshavadityeke karma prahurmanishinah yajnadhana tabah karma natyajamiti chapare. So, in this also people have two different views. Some philosophers or some people say that one should not tyajit, should not abandon obligatory duties like sacrifice, yajna, dhana and tapa. And some philosophers, they say we have to leave all this. So there are two views. One is we have to leave all the action, just drop off all the action and be involved only in Atma Jnana. And another view is we should not leave all this. We have to practice this. So in this context, one thing we have to analyze. Why should we take sannyasa? What is the need for sannyasa? Sannyasa is needed just to buy time. In this busy world, we have to go to office, we have to take care of the home, we have to do other jobs also, just like shopping and all, which cannot be avoided. We have to buy things for home. So all these, amidst all these duties, how many hours do we get to practice Atma Vidya? So when a person is too much interested in Atma Vidya, he will ignore all the rest and go towards it. Just like that only we do. When we are so busy in our office work, we just leave off everything and go to office. Or when we are just a busy student, we concentrate more on it without doing any job at home. So that like that, when we are so much interested in Atma Vidya, we just leave everything, ignore everything and take a secluded life so that we can buy time to practice Atma Jnana. Whether it is knowledge or the preparatory actions for it, it needs time to mold our mind. So for that purpose, sannyasa is absolutely needed. So the next question is Atma Jnana or liberation not possible without sannyasa or without taking that ashrama of sannyasa? It's a question. Because there are many rishis who have not taken the sannyasa way of life but still have knowledge, jnana. Great rishis like Janaka Maharaj or Vasishta Maharshi. So they have grahastha, they lived in grahastha life only, but still they are jnanis. So this is what advanced stage. So all cannot be like that. All cannot be like Janaka Maharaj or cannot be like Vasishta Maharshi like that. And so these people, they have attained jnana, but sometimes when they stay at home, they cannot practice Atma Jnana, so they take sannyasa. This is the advanced level in which they take sannyasa. They have complete jnana, Brahma Jnana. To practice it more and more or to be involved in that state itself. They cannot sit in the middle of the city and practice Brahmajnana. So they go to a secluded place or take sannyasa ashrama. That is, after in the grahastha ashrama, they take sannyasa ashrama. This type of sannyasa is called vividisha sannyasa, advanced level of sannyasa. But all cannot be like that. They are in the grahastha life, but they will not get time to know about this knowledge, but they will have interest. By some way, they will get be interested in this knowledge, but they will not get that proper knowledge, but they are interested. They cannot practice the basic practices, so they will not get time. For that, they go to the sannyasa ashrama. This is the beginning stage of sannyasa ashrama, and this is called vidvid sannyasa. Vidvid, that is the student sannyasa or the preliminary sannyasa. So the advanced level of sannyasa, they just be in that they will always identify with the self because they are well practiced in it. The beginning itself, they have taken the sannyasa to practice more and more. So they always identify with their self. They just spend time in some caves or like that and to practice Atma Vidya and attain moksha. But this is very, very rare. Commonly, what people do is they take sannyasa ashrama to practice Atma Vidya, to know Atma Vidya from the acharyas and to practice some basic practices. So they go to take this sannyasa ashrama. So these people, they have to do these obligatory duties like yajna, dhana, tapa. So that's why the jnani says, some say it is not needed. It's not, maybe not needed, like Ramana Maharshi, or they will always identify with the self. They don't do yajna or taba, they always identify with the self. So for them, advanced level, they don't need it. But it is not possible, it is not applicable to all. For the beginners, definitely it is needed, and 95% of the people are beginners only. They go towards this way of life. So for them, all these duties are needed. So that's why some people say it is not needed and some say it is needed. And more clearly, Bhagavan Krishna explains in the next shloka. Nischayam shrunu me tatra tyage bharada sattama tyago hi purusha vyagra trivida samprakirtitaha. Bhagavan says that, I will explain this more to you, Arjuna. There are three types of sannyasa. Three types of sannyasa. So I will explain it clearly. Bhagavan is telling. And in the next shloka, he continues to explain that Yajna dana tabah karma natyajyam karyameva tat yajno danam tabaschaiva pavanani manishina. So Bhagavan very vehemently says that the act of sacrifice, yajna, giving gift, dana, austerity, tapas, nama japa or the japa of any mantra should not be avoided because they are the great purifiers of the wise people. Only by doing that, their mind will be controlled and purified of all the impurities. So if we stop all that and take sannyasa, we cannot continue to be in that ashrama. Because if our mind is not purified, then we will feel that that sannyasa way of life is so depressing. Many people come to the back. There are many people who take sannyasa for some reason, or they may be interested in the beginning. So they take sannyasa with much expectation. But since their mind is not purified by karma yoga or yajna, dhana and tapa, they cannot stay long there in that ashrama. So they return back. When they return back, the society will not accept them. So it's a great problem for them. Their whole life will be, they will spend their whole life in a depressed state of mind. What's the need for all this? So one has to take sannyasa When they take even sannyasa, they have to practice yajna, dana, tapa because they are the great purifiers of the mind, purifiers of the wise. So it should be practiced, Bhagavan Krishna very strongly says. Acts of yajna, dhana, and tava, na tyajyam karyameva tat. They should not be abandoned or should not be abandoned. They should be performed. They should be performed. Bhagavan says that. And in the next shloka he says, Yetanyabhitu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani me partha nishchitam matamuttamam. The actions should not be abandoned. They should not be dropped. What actions? Yajna, dana, and tapa. But the attachment with the fruits of the action, that to be renounced, that to be abandoned. Because when we have, our mind is continuously involved or expecting the result of the action, then there is so much of expectation. Then that is not a sannyasa, that is not tyaga. When we do an action, we should not expect its result. Anyway, we cannot do anything after writing the exam or doing an action. What we can do, we have to do before doing that action. Prepare for best for that action. When it is done, there is no point in worrying about it or expecting about it. Even when it is positive, people will be so much attached to it and they reflect that attachment in their next action. Suppose if it's a failure, that also will bother them. So that should not be there. When we expect something from the action, then it is not tyaga or renunciation or sannyasa or tyaga anything. So that expectation or attachment with the result of the action, that should be abandoned, but not the action itself. Bhagavan very clearly says, when we do such some actions as a duty, then we do not expect anything from it. We are not attached to its result. So when we do a duty, we do not have any likes or dislikes. It's a duty, so I'm doing it. That mentality we will have. So we will not be attached with the result. So it is one way of doing this. Bhagavan is what he is telling about the karma yoga only. Just do the action and don't be attached to the result of the action. That's the attachment to the result of the action should be abandoned. Niyatasya tu sannyasah karmano nopapatyate mohatasya parityagah tamasa parikirtitah. If we abandon the action itself in the name of sannyasa, then our mind will not be purified. Then we cannot go to the next higher level. That is, we cannot climb the steps towards moksha. It will not take us anywhere. We have seen like this sannyasis and pilgrimage centers or at the entrance of some temples. They're dressed up like sannyasa. They just wear their robe like lot of rudraksha. So these are all the signs for the sannyasa order of life. But all this alone will not help them to purify the mind. Wearing rudraksha or wearing that marks on the forehead or wearing an orange color robe, that alone will not make us sannyasi. We have to work internally to purify the mind. So they just spend their time on the entrance of the temple, get the alms from the devotees coming there. If anyone forget to give or not interested in giving, they will curse them. So all this will degrade their mind more and more. Or we can say they will just keep the vessel in front of them and they will be snoring. So the people who go here and there, they will put alms. So what effort they are taking to improve their mind? So that's very important in the sannyasa order of life. So all these are the tamasic way of life. They are wasting their life in the name of sannyasa. So sannyasa means it's not only the signs of a sannyasa are needed. Sannyasa has to work mentally to improve their mind. So Bhagavan is telling some people are deluded and they do not do their obligatory action. So by that, it is not a proper way to sannyasa, and they are all these types of sannyasa are declared as tamasika sannyasa. And next, Bhagavan is telling, दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत् सकृत्वा राजसं त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्. So some people, they ignore these obligatory duties, or they do ignore many duties because it's so difficult to do. It's difficult for the physical body to do all this, or they may be lazy to do japa, sitting in a place and cyclic repetition of a mantra. It will not be interest for them. So that they just drop it. They won't perform any puja or worship to Bhagavan because they feel it's so boring. So in this way, if they do not do the action, then it is not the proper way of sannyasa. All this, that is renouncing the action, for dukkha, because it is painful, it is difficult, it is so boring, renouncing the action because for these reasons, it is not a proper sannyasa. It is considered as the rajasika sannyasa. Rajasic sannyasa. Some people, we have seen that when they have so much problem in their home, many duties to perform in their home, they just ignore everything and take sannyasa. So that's not the proper way of taking sannyasa. And when they have a lot of debt by their work or anything, when they have a lot of debt to be repaid back, then they cannot hold on to their life. So they take sannyasa and go to the Himalayan ranges. The thing is, we have to take sannyasa when we are completely interested in Atma Vidya. So we will not feel difficult to renounce everything. Instead, if we take sannyasa fearing something or fear of the mental or physical pain, then we will take sannyasa. Then after some time, when we feel that all that problem will be over, we want to return back to the worldly life. Or we will go to take sannyasa. There also we cannot adjust. Those people, they cannot adjust there in the sannyasa way of life. So they lose this life and that life also. So there should not be any hurry in taking sannyasa. One, if the person is completely interested in Atma Vidya, and if they do not find time in this early life to practice Atma Vidya, if they find that their mind is completely molded for Atma Vidya, completely matured, it's not an easy thing, completely matured, then they can go to that way of life. No one should force them, or they should not live this worldly life fearing the worldly life. They should be interested in Atma Vidya, completely interested. Then taking this sannyasa or accepting that order of life becomes automatic, or they will find it fruitful. So instead, if we fear this worldly life and take sannyasa, or the fear of pain, if we fail to do these obligatory duties, then it is not a proper sannyasa, it is only the rajasic sannyasa. It's the rajasic way of abandoning these actions. कार्यमित्येव यत् कर्म नियतं क्रियते अर्जुन संगं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः. If a person performs these obligatory duties and not attached to the result of this action, then that is the proper sannyasa, that is the sattvika sannyasa. Because only detachment from the fruit of the actions, that is, we have to do a duty, any action as a duty, and should not be attached to the result of that action, then only that situation purifies the mind. So it's all this. And what is sannyasa? It's only buying time to practice Atma Vidya. And what is Atma Vidya or Brahma Vidya itself? It's just an understanding. Now we are so conscious about our body and mind. When we understand about our real nature, then there will be an automatic shift from this body mind consciousness or awareness to the awareness of the self. So it is a shift in consciousness. When we attain this Vidya, we will understand that I am Brahman. I am not different from this universe, or I am not different from the indwelling self of all the forms in this universe. So that understanding, that shift in consciousness will come to us. So when that shift comes and it becomes permanent in us, when we are always conscious or aware of ourselves, then automatically we will ignore this life, other material life, ignore in the sense we will not be interested in the worldly life, and that is the perfect sannyasa. So to attain that state, we have to practice detachment from the result of any action. So by doing karma yoga, gradually we feel that I am not different from anyone. That's one preparation of our mind for this Brahmajnana. So Bhagavan says one has to do yajna. That is, yajna means no yajna or a puja or worship to Bhagavan. Dhana should give gift. Tabas, any type of mantra japa, or all this molds our mind for the higher values of life. So all this should be practiced, but without attaching to the result of that action. Na dveshtaya kushalang karma kushalena anushajyate tyagi sattva samavishtaha medhavi chinna samshayah. So a person who has this knowledge, who has no doubts, one who has wisdom and who has purity of mind, very intelligent, medhavi, intelligent, wise, one who has this knowledge, he will not have any hate or likes towards performing any action. He will not have any agreeable action or disagreeable action. He just perform the action, because he is not concerned about the consequences of that action. So he will not have any likes or dislikes for doing any particular action. So his mind is molded like that because of knowledge, intelligent, and he's a wise person. He will not have any likes or dislikes in doing this duty. A person who has knowledge, intelligent, wise, and who has a purity of mind, he will not have any agreeable action or disagreeable action, Bhagavan says. Nahi dehabhrudha shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagityavidhiyate. Bhagavan says that an embodied soul cannot stay away from all the actions. When we have taken this, when we are attached to this body and mind, when you are an embodied soul, till we attain moksha, we have to perform any action. We cannot stay away without performing any action. So anyway we are doing an action, why not do it without attaching to the result of the action? That's what Bhagavan Sri Krishna says. So an embodied soul, unattached to the rewards of the action, he is called as a man of renunciation. So there's a higher level of renunciation. Those rishis, they will sometimes when they enter in meditation and go to that samadhi level, they stay in that level for 6 months or 7 months. So they don't do all these duties because they all don't identify with the body and mind. But all this embodied soul, to go to that higher level, and all of them, we have to perform this yajna, dana, and tapa, and all many of the obligatory duties, or because all that mold our mind. So in that situation, what can we do? We have to perform the duty, but unattached to the reward of that action. So that's what Bhagavan Sri Krishna says. So this is the 11th shloka in this chapter 18. So now I take a break and continue with the rest of the shlokas of this chapter in my next upload. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीविजयोर्भूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।